Mike, Dr. B here. Welcome to Dr. B Uncensored, where we interview candid thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and founders to tell their story to inspire and inspire others to do the same. Hopefully, you enjoyed this episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. I'm here, Dr. B, here with the great Michael Cappa. Michael, how are you, sir?
Hey, it's good to be here, Dr. B. I'm doing swell.
Doing fantastic here. Recorded in a winter 2026. Cold as heck out here, but it's where we're going to be cooking some great stuff today, right? So up inside. So tell me, Michael, tell everyone about yourself. Let's jump right into it. Let's not waste any time.
Yeah, so I run a residential and commercial painting business here in the Greater Toronto area. I service anywhere from Toronto to Peterborough, which is like a suburb of Toronto, about an hour outside of it. So I'm more on like the east end of the city. And I've been professionally painting since I was 15 years old. I got my good humble beginnings when I was working my paper route, and one of my customers said, "Hey, Michael, how would you like to paint my fence this summer?" So I've always been open-minded and opportunistic, and I love trying new things. So I said, "Absolutely, why not?" Dr. B, I definitely had my Miyagi and Daniel Son moment because he had me working his fence that summer. And holy heck, working in the well, you guys are Fahrenheit there in the States, so it probably would have been like 80 or 90 something degree weather. And I had to like prep this fence and stain it. And he was like drilling into me like a drill sergeant, like, "You're holding the brush too daintily." And like, I definitely came around. And by the end of it, I was actually a pretty decent painter. So fast forward a little bit in the timeline, and when I was 18, I ran a student painting franchise. And that summer, so this would be 2015, I grossed a $90,000 business as an 18-year-old, managing multiple crews and servicing like over 50 projects. So that was like my first real taste of entrepreneurship. And that the earnings from that summer paid for a vast majority of my tuition and my room and board in my second year at school. And that was really the aha moment that entrepreneurship was for me. And you get out what you put in. So, kind of fast forwarding to current day, my friend, in 2018, day one out of school, I started Altona painting. And, there's been some hiccups and bumps along the way, but there's also been some tremendous victories. And lately, I've been leaning more into working with a lot of realtors, leaning a little more into the thought leadership, and just being of service to my fellow tradespeople here in the region. So that's the cookie on the cutter.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Your reference, Miyagi, Daniel-san, wax on, wax off. I could see you doing that too on the fence. Hilarious. Tell everyone about like your education. Like, you said you've been painting since 15. Obviously, it was like hard
Hmm.
knocks, but
Hmm.
did you go to college or if if you did go to college, did that network kind of help in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, so I've always been if you've ever read the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad books, he talks about the different learning styles of how kids learn. And I definitely learn in multiple ways. I was always a good classroom student, pursuing good accolades and scholastic excellence. But I also was really good and a profound, quick learner with working with my hands. So I actually went to university for policy and communications. And policy is very interesting because you're creating laws that govern society. So you're taking a very holistic and multifaceted approach to creating policies that are going to impact people's lives and commerce and XYZ. So running a business is very interesting for me at this point in time because as I go through every department of the business, like, sure, I'm not in the policy field, but I'm using those critical thinking skills, like all these research papers I had to write and figuring out how to create effective policy or policy recommendations. That's kind of how I go about building my business as I go through every department of the business in this uh, critical thinking, uh, pedantic at times kind of style, and it's produced results. It's that's some of the most successful trades guys here in my region are actually university educated with like a master's. I know a painter with a master's degree in psychology. I know a contractor with a bachelor of commerce. Like some of the most successful trades guys I know in my region are college or university educated. So I got my start in painting because when I was in my first year at university, I one of my friends who I was living with in residence approached me and he said, "Hey, I have this really brilliant opportunity," and it was the student painting franchise. So I jumped at the opportunity, and yeah, that's kind of how things came full circle here.
I love it. Yeah, you leverage your network, you leverage your resources, right? And you leverage you leverage your network. Whether it's critical thinking I love that. I love that. And you made it happen. I like that. That's awesome, man. So now the business that you started in, well, you said university is college, university, right? This business
Yeah,
that you started
yeah.
then, is it the same business as now, or now it's a separate name? Tell me a little bit about Altona Painting. Is that the same thing, or is that different? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in my first year at college, it was the business I ran at that time was through student works painting.
Oh, got it.
So
Understood. Understood.
I don't know what the companies are in the States, but here in Canada, we have a few student painting franchises. There's College Pro, Student Works, Scholars at Your Service. I 100% would bet my life savings that there are definitely like student-oriented businesses or franchises down in the States there.
I'm
So
sure
for
there are.
any
I'm sure
for
there
an,
are, and I'm sure like low entry, like barriers of entry compared to like buying into McDonald's or something like that, which is you need seven figures. Yep. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, no, it was a very impactful interruption. To your point, yeah, it's that's what I was gonna say. It's like a good vehicle for young people to practice how to become an entrepreneur. You learn what you want, what you don't want, and the business acumen and the experience you get from it is second to none. So I did that when I was 18 in the year of 2015. And then in the year of 2018, when I was like 21, 22-ish, that's when I started my own personal business, Altona Painting.
I love it. And tell me give me the genesis of that of Altona Painting.
Sure, yeah, I love telling this story. So between third and fourth year, I was actually on a policy research internship in Peru. And I was there for 2 months, and we were doing a comparative policy analysis between, we were studying this social program that was meant to feed uh, impoverished school children. And the thesis of our study was basically that the urban area that we studied versus the rural area that was like way up in the Andes Mountains, their needs were completely at diametrically opposite ends of each other. Like the rural community needed way more resources than the urban community. But in that analysis and this study, we would work from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday to Sunday, my classmates and I, there's six of us, we would travel and have fun and party. So we were working like very diligently and disciplined in the week, but then on the weekend we would travel and have fun. And we were there for 2 months over the summer. And I was like, man, this working and traveling thing kicks ass. I love this. Like, I want to make this a thing long term. This is how I see myself going forward in life. So then the wheels started turning of like, okay, how do I actualize this? And how do I build like a nest egg that I could put in the stock market and live off the dividends and or have real estate investments or whatever. Like I didn't have like the clear answer at the end of the tunnel just yet, but like I knew that I needed an asset of sorts to facilitate this lifestyle I wanted. So then that's when the light bulb went off of painting because I did the student painting in 2015. So then I was like, okay, well, the logical next step in my vision here is I start my own painting business. And then uh, exactly 1 year later is when I was finished school, is when I did start my own painting business. So that's the genesis of Altona Painting.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you was away. You was doing your thing. I was like, hey man, I like this thing. How could I sustain this? And then went back to your roots, right? Subconsciously, let's start a painting company. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So speaking of painting company, what sets your painting company apart from others?
Yeah, so you're a business savant. You know the difference between a red ocean and a blue
I
ocean
read the
type
book.
of
Yeah, I read the book about it.
industry.
Yep, yep. You know it.
Yeah, yeah. So, for your listeners, a red ocean is essentially it's like the piranhas, the sharks. It's very cutthroat. It's a very bloody type of industry because there's so many people. So, painting, landscaping, real estates, anything where there's a lot of people in it, you got to be able to stand out from the crowd. And what I've done and how I've positioned myself to stand out in my industry, there's a few ways. So, number one, I've really honed in the last few years on working with real estate agents. And I've become the preferred painter between Toronto to Peterborough, which is my region. I've become the preferred painter at about 10 real estate offices. And the mission is to continue growing that. And in that journey, I've been able to present at their meetings. I've been able to be a fly on the wall at their meetings and their culture events. And I've become really ingrained within the local real estate associations and real estate market. And what has set me apart is I know exactly what the needs of realtors and real estate agents and their clients are. Realtors, their main prerogatives are to provide VIP levels of service and to sell listings faster and for more. So, painting is very critical in that listing and selling process because painting adds value to the home. It's cost effective versus like a full-blown renovation. And, I brand myself as a natural extension of realtors' reputations because they're also in a red ocean industry and they got to stand out. So they stand out by having an impeccable power team. And I position myself as being an impeccable member of the power team. And kind of, my second train of thought here, building on that, is I've branded myself as a solution center. So when people like when I have networking calls or relationship building opportunities with realtors, I tell them I'm not just a painter, I'm a resource center. If you need a cleaner, if you need a photographer, if you need a carpenter, plumber, handyman, whomever, even the white collar stuff like a real estate lawyer and a mortgage broker, like my network runs very deep. And I got my hands and my tentacles spread in a lot of different pots. And that's how I'm able to be of service to them is not only does my painting team kick butt and we meet deadlines and we take care of your clients and we make you look good, but we also have a network of people who are like me and will be invaluable assets to your power team.
I love it. I love it. You spoke about the power team. In my book, I talk about the power team. It's very important to be part of that power team. You spoke about agents and real estate agents, right? Is it a segue into my next question, which kind of like ties everything together? So,
Mm.
what do you think that, what is one mistake homeowners or even agents make before listing that could easily be fixed with the right paint job?
Mm-hmm. So my dad used to run a multi-million dollar advertising business, and his biggest client was General Motors. General Motors has a factory here in Oshawa, which is a suburb of Toronto. And one thing my dad gave me a lot of lessons, but one of them was don't be penny wise and pound foolish. which is like if you cheap out on the front end, you're gonna pay for it tenfold on the back end. And not properly staging or painting to get your house ready for sale, like even if you're on a tight budget and you can't do the whole place, even if you just did the critical high impact areas, if you just like I've seen this time and time again, where if the house gets listed and nothing is done to it, then buyer interest is very low. And the more turnkey the property, the it does a few things. So number one, you're reducing that objection list that prospective buyers are going to have. Number two, you're going to create a lot more competitive offers because if it's in a good location and the house is move-in ready or reasonably move-in ready, then people will show interest. And another mistake is if they do choose to paint the whole place, people like God bless designers, they know their stuff when it comes to fabrics and materials and how things all work together, but man, they're obsessed with whiting things out. And it's like, okay, we don't need to white out listings every time we're getting a house ready to sell. The reason why that's a critical mistake is twofold. Number one, people don't like their house feeling like a giant sanitarium. And, it's like you have like the Metallica song Sanitarium playing from the walls as you're walking through. Um, and then number two is the number of coats that it takes to achieve that look. White paint, even if it's like Primo, Benjamin Moore, or Sherwin or Dulux, the white paint period has no pigment in it. So when you pick an earthy tone or a gray or a palatable neutral color, that's going to cover most existing colors in two coats. You always need two coats when you're changing color, but why would you unnecessarily add extra labor time and material and overall cost to a project? Like you're not seeing that return on investment by whiting out the house. You'll see the return on investment by brightening it up and staging it, but going that extra step of making your house look like an IKEA catalog or a hospital with all white, like that's to tie this all in a beautiful bow. That is a big mistake I see people make when they're getting their house ready for sale.
No, I agree. 1,020%, right? Which segues into my next point or question, right? So, how important is your relationship with the realtors to your approach to painting? Because it's a one big team, one big power team, right? So
Mhm.
you're it's like a football, right? Like American football, right? Where you have a role, the quarterback has a role, right? The realtor has a role, right? So how important is that relationship between you and the realtor?
Mm-hmm. It's hypercritical, and realtors are the conduit to a lot of things. So, actually, here, let me back. You can edit this, right? Can I start this again?
Yeah, we can edit it. That's fine. You can
Yeah.
redo it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. Um, so it's hypercritical that everyone is in alignment with the mission. And the mission is to, number one, take care of the realtor's client. And then number two is to make the realtor look good. Because uh, uh, real estate sales, it's a very high ticket sale. It's like one of the highest ticket sales positions that there are, right? And realtors, especially the very successful ones who are high producers and sell a lot of listings and have a lot of buyers, if you get in on their power team and you're consistently producing positive results for them and you're part of the mission, you're part of the team, you're part of taking care of their clients with good service and good communication and teamwork with the other people involved with getting the house ready, then no surprise that they're going to keep funneling you repeat work, right? And that's like I said, red ocean industry. How many cleaners are there? How many painters are there? How many uh, other tradespeople are there that they can just look up on Google and call and replace you, right? You can be replaced like that. So it's in your best interest to consistently produce quality results because nothing's worth doing unless you're going to do it right. And if you consistently do it right and are serving their clients and making them look good, and you're part of the mission of getting the house ready to sell, or even if they're buying or they're moving in and you're helping them tailor it to their liking. Like you want to be like business is all about relationships. People buy from people. Why would you tarnish a long-term relationship with someone that's constantly funneling you consistent revenue, right? The objective is to maintain, at first is getting your foot in the door and getting that relationship, but then second, even if more importantly, is maintaining that relationship. And I think maybe that's where some people get complacent and lazy, is they get comfortable. It's like, you can't get complacent and lazy with that. You have to maintain that
Agreed.
long-standing relationship.
Agreed. Yeah, you can't get complacent, can't get lazy. You gotta constantly be in communication, constantly up your game, right? So that you could continue to get business from the realtor and vice versa. So yeah, no, totally get it, totally 100%. I agree. And then in my first book, I talk about the importance of networking and the power team, and you discussed that as well, which will segue into my one of my last questions when it comes to setting up the power team. You spoke about the importance of the power team, in regards to like, the realtor, the painter, obviously the inspector, all that's entails in the real estate process, right? So one of my last questions I'm going to ask you is David Chinelli, which I also interviewed, which you could check out his interview on YouTube with me.
Mhm.
He spoke about like the way he coaches is he's a top performing agent, and he coaches other agents, right? And he said that from an agent standpoint, it's important to think like an investor, right? So do you agree with that, right? How important is that to kind of think like an investor, right? Like, think like me, like an investor looking to purchase the, a property. And obviously, for me, it's all about the story and what can I do with this complex. I do multifamily, so it's a little bit different. So why is it
Mhm.
important for whether it's you or even members of the power team to kind of think like an investor?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's step back for a moment at the bigger picture as to investors are basically looking for their money to work for them, and they're looking for long-term compound wins and returns. So, taking that same approach to being a high quality power team member for a realtor, your compound interest, if you will, in this analogy, is that long-term bond that you're forging or have forged and are continuing to forge with the realtor. And you you don't want to mess with that. It's so important that once you, like I said earlier, you get your foot in the door to build that relationship and initially gain their trust, and then you consistently produce results for them that are so here's how, in my compound interest analogy here, here's how you continue to build compound interest with a realtor. The interest being goodwill and them constantly calling you back. So I tell realtors straight up that I don't always have referrals to give to them for people who are leasing, buying, or selling. In all the years I've been in business, my friend, I have given like two leasing referrals. And it's not because I don't want to give out referrals. It hasn't come up in my world where it's like, oh, so and so is buying and selling. Let me call this one realtor I'm super mega loyal to. And it just, for us tradespeople, it doesn't always come up organically. It can, but like I'm just telling you my honest history of I haven't been able to give referrals to realtors. So I was brainstorming, okay, how can I be of value where it's not just like a take kind of relationship? Because there's gotta be reciprocity in order for it to be you gotta have a two-way street
Yep.
in
I talk about
business.
that as well. Lower reciprocity.
So I was like, okay, how do I give back? And I give back like we talked about earlier is I position myself as a solution center and I say, okay, like I might not be able to give back to you in the way of closed business or new referrals for people who are buying and selling, but what I 100% can do is number one, through my experience of like what to look for in a power team member. Like I can coach you or tell you, this is the framework through which how you choose your power team members. So I kind of can be like a pseudo coach, if you will. That's one way I'm a resource. And the second way I'm a resource is my network runs really deep. So although I can't give you referrals for closed business, just because it's not that I don't want to, it's just I don't have them to give. Um, what I can give is access to my network of highly qualified and trustworthy and amazing tradespeople. And that has paid dividends, man. Like because that's like I was at a seniors event the other day. The one of the local municipalities here put on a seniors fair, and there was a realtor there. And she says, "Oh, I need a good painter." And then I asked her straight up. I said, "Hey, do you need any other tradespeople?" She's like, "Oh, now that I think about it, like, yeah, I could use a cleaner and I could use this person." And it's like, okay, so that's that thought process and action is how can you be of value and of service to realtors that helps you build that like quote compound interest like an investor is looking for.
I love that. Yeah, it's all about adding value, whether it's directly or indirectly, right? Any way you could help, right? It can't be just about gimme, 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 right? You have to be able to to also. It's a two-way street, as I mentioned. One of my last questions is, what final thoughts would you give to someone who's on the fence, who's looking to start something in the real estate world, entrepreneurship wise, who's looking to jump in, who's on the fence? What advice would you give to someone who's on the fence of jumping into entrepreneurship?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would say that you got to be real clear on why you're doing it. Like initially, when we start to do things, we're very introspective or a little selfish, and that's okay. But it has to evolve beyond that. It's like, okay, like, yes, obviously, I want a good house and to make a good income. And it's like, what's the end goal? Why is you achieving those metrics and those goals? Like, obviously, it's good for your life, but how are you giving back? How are you giving back to the community? How are you giving more than you receive? What's the purpose? What's your purpose? I know that's like very existential and philosophical, but when you go into business, people like we live in such an interesting time with AI slop and influencers being disingenuous and inauthentic, and people are starving for authenticity. People are starving for real connection and real help. And there's a lot of nonsense and noise out there. So I think, there's a lot of pieces of advice you and I could spend hours here talking about, but that's really the one thing is like, how do you, what's your goal with how you're going to be authentically giving value and creating real connection and results for people?
I love it. Authentic value, giving results or getting results for people. I love that. I love that. Where could people find more information about you and your painting company?
Yeah, so my Instagram is where I live the most. It's Altona sorry, it's at Altona Painting. My website is altonapainting.com. As a sidebar, if you want to check out my drumming videos, my personal Instagram is at underscore Michael Cappa, and my YouTube channel is Michael Cappa, where you can find some sick Metallica and Iron Maiden covers.
I love it. I love it. Michael, thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation. I think it's important for our folks to learn about the power team and to learn about the importance of thinking as an investor and everything that relates to entrepreneurship. So thank you, Michael. Thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, man. Michael Cap, everybody. Take care.
Hi, everybody. Dr. B here, Dr. B Uncensored. Hopefully, you enjoyed that episode. Remember, you are one big deal away. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel now. Take care.